Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with today's trading action. All right, now the markets, you know what? It seems like it's like the end of summer, North American summer markets. And what I mean by that is they're a little bit skittish, they're volatile, they're moving very quickly with the US numbers. Now, the strength in the US dollar yesterday was put down to the US PPI numbers, right? Now, the PPI, it is an inflation number, okay, the producer price index. Now, for some weird reason, right, the numbers were all pretty strong, okay, across the board. And that got the dollar rocking and rolling once again. Now, this doesn't change what the Fed are going to be doing, but it's a repositioning in the market that you have to understand. The market can get very fickle at times and just like flowing with the numbers. It's almost like, we've got a general overview of what the Fed are going to do. And then you look at the market, and then the markets just start reacting to the numbers, which is good for traders who are chasing the numbers, right? And this is important because today we have the US retail sales numbers coming out, right? And also you've got the University of Michigan consumer sentiment numbers there as well. A few numbers there out of China, probably important for the Aussie and Kiwi, although they've been getting bashed up somewhat, right? So it's hard to sort of see some clear things there. Now, when you come down and look through the live signals, we're getting a bit of a mismatch once again through the major pairs and a lot of the crosses. Excuse me. So just sort of waiting, be patient, wait for the opportunity to line up. I'm sort of almost a day out of whack, right? I don't know if that's because I got the flu, but Sterling Aussie went up, held, then crapped out after the Aussie numbers, and then next thing you know, it's 100 points higher. So a little bit of a baffling sort of market, but this is what I'm talking about with regards the summer markets, right? The traders are just happy to, rock and roll with what numbers come out without any sort of clear long-term outlook, right? And if you're just starting to adjust your trend lines, you're starting to like the beast, right? I was talking about this the other day, right? Dollar yen, like this, when this thing goes, it goes, and when it looks like it's about to crap out, next thing you know, it's 150 points higher, and everyone's getting stopped out on the top side. So hopefully, you haven't been part of that. I sort of sit back and watch that a lot. It makes me feel a little bit better that I'm not playing in the wrong currencies. Now, the general outlook, right? The Aussie, it's been an interesting one for the Aussie this week, right? We've had some data, they've cut rates. We've had some strong numbers, we've had some weak numbers. But if you're looking at sort of general reactions, how the market is set, like the market started to finally get long Aussie. It's up at 65.60, then all of a sudden it's down like 90, 80 points back down in the 64s, right? So now sterling didn't go as far. Euro, well, not quite as far either. But the Kiwi also getting a little bit beaten up there, right? So when you come back to today's trading, excuse me, you want to just have a look at what's happening and what's moving around. Because if we come back into the calendar here, right, and you're having a look around, you got some Kiwi numbers, not really that important. The yen GDP numbers, I'm not going to say they're not important because every time I do that with the yen, it sort of comes back and there's some sort of reaction. But just understand how the yen reacts to the numbers, right? Positive data, positive move in the equity markets, and it's the opposite to generally the way the markets work globally, right? So positive. Sorry, what I should have said there is positive yen data, buy dollars, buy dollar yen, right? Then you've got these Chinese numbers, retail sales figures. I mean, there's always question marks over the Chinese numbers, but all we can do is work with what we've got. That could potentially impact the Aussie and Kiwi. And then you come down into the North American session, right? We've got a few numbers here. The manufacturing sales numbers out of Canada are worth a look. That they are sort of one of those numbers that sort of gets things rocking and rolling. Retail sales figures, right? On the back of those PPI numbers, we have an opportunity here, right? So, excuse me, I wouldn't be surprised if these numbers come in weak. We're just going to get a reversal of the move on the US PPI numbers. It's an easy trade, but don't fall in love with it. It's not like a long-term trade. You might be in the trade for, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. That's it, right? You've got the industrial production numbers there as well. And if I flip the calendar over, you'll see, I think we've got the University of Michigan consumer sentiment numbers there as well, or the prelim numbers. So check it out, right? Because there is a little bit of cash in the market because it is behaving a little bit, I wouldn't say randomly, but it is moving with the numbers, right? If you look at the global markets page, right? This is what we're looking at here. I keep an eye on the yields. This tells us a lot about what's happening with the interest rates in the US. Now, short dated stuff's a little bit lower, but the long dated stuff is pretty much as it was, right? Things aren't moving around, but the currencies are moving around it as though something is going to happen. And everyone's getting sucked into getting long dollars, short dollars, long dollars, short dollars. Just watch the data, right? The equity markets have gone to sleep at the moment. And so what we're seeing on the major currency pairs, excuse me, is just little random moves, right? We've had a build up of pressure, weak dollar, and then the dollar comes back strong, right? Anyway, it sort of does your head in a little bit because you just want consistency in the movements. You know what? If anything, it tells me that what I know the Fed interest rate cut is sort of factored in, but the market's just sort of taking the piss a bit, like just going with the numbers. So recognize what the market's doing. They are just trading the numbers. They're in, they're out, right? There's no medium to long-term moves here just at the moment because the data isn't lining up. It's not like the US numbers are all strong or all weak. You get one strong, one weak, one strong, one weak, right? It doesn't go anywhere. And that's why the live signals aren't lining up so much. The live signals themselves, to me, is a short-term to medium, long-term trending signals, right? If the markets are discombobulating every other day, well, then you're not going to get these things lining up. And that's what can be a little bit frustrating. So just take your time, wait for the market. We get to pick the market off, right? Don't get suckered into trading because the numbers are talking to you, right? If you've got a schedule to make money, well, then that's going to be tricky because the markets are a little bit looser. That's not the way to be trading, is trading to a budget where you need to pay invoices and bills. That's tricky, right? So slow down, take your time, look what numbers are coming out, and have a look on your charts to see if, if there is any sort of really good opportunities, right? I was looking at Euro CAD, hasn't really taken off, but this is where if you focus on one or two instruments instead of the whole market, you can really start to piece together some good trading opportunities. And excuse me, Sterling Aussie was one I was looking at earlier in the week. Got in here, got out up here somewhere, like I was like 43 or 45 points. Like I was lucky to stay in the trade. But you know what? If you just keep watching that trade over the course of the next couple of days, the real move, even though you can see here, it was never really, the timing was never perfect. But if you're watching Sterling against the Aussie, then there's an easy 100-point move there. Okay. All right. I know that's long-winded. And am I feeling better? A little bit. I tell you what, I thought it was over this about a day and a half ago and then spent all night coughing my guts up. All right, guys, have a good one. Have a good weekend. Just take it easy, right? There's some good trading conditions around the corner. We don't need to chase the market, right? And, Trump's very busy beating his chest up, on the Ukraine, Russian sort of meetings. Just follow what's happening. And what's happening is the PPI numbers, which I can't remember the last time they really impacted, have come out with strong numbers. And there you go. The dollar comes back strong. So anyway, a bit of a disjointed week. I'm hoping that I'm 100% come over the weekend and early next week. And then we can start to really knuckle in on focusing on one or two pairs as opposed to sort of hitting the whole market. All right, guys, have a good one. All the best. Cheerio.